class, and welcome to our discussion on Chapter 12 of our textbook and this week's module, Working with Native American Clients. This week's optional lecture looks at the history, the culture, and the experiences of Native American and Alaskan Native peoples. We will explore historical trauma, cultural values, and the implications for practice when working with Native American clients in human services. Before we begin, I do want to emphasize, as I did in the announcement, that this lecture is not meant to generalize or stereotype all Native American people. There is incredible diversity across tribes, nations, and individuals. Instead, our goal is to understand broad cultural values and historical patterns that often influence worldview, communication, and interaction in helping relationships. Just to think about, there are over 500 Native American tribes and over 314 reservations. Each has its own unique language, traditions, and governments. There's no single Native American culture. So use this lecture as a framework and not a definition. Native Americans are not a monolithic group. There are hundreds of sovereign nations, each with distinct languages, customs, as we've noted, and belief systems. Even values like time, family, and spirituality vary across tribes. What we're covering today, again, I just want to emphasize this, are common cultural themes identified in research and clinical practice, but they won't apply universally. That is to say, they won't apply to everyone. As human service professionals, we need to stay humble and curious, asking questions, learning from clients, and most importantly, avoiding assumptions. And the present day realities of the Native American peoples, we must begin by looking at their history. The story of Native Americans in this country sadly includes genocide, forced relocation, and systematic attempts to erase their culture. During the first 400 years of United States history, the Native American population plummeted from 12 million to just over 200,000 people. Imagine what that means in terms of trauma. Entire nations and languages were wiped out, families destroyed, children taken to boarding schools, and traditions banned. This legacy of historical trauma contributes to present-day disparities in health, substance use, and well-being. Alcohol-related deaths are estimated to be 7 times the national average, and suicide rates for Native Americans remain significantly higher than those same rates for white populations. Despite this devastating history of trauma and genocide, Native communities have shown resilience and growth. The population of Native American communities have steadily increased, and this is not just from births, but because more people are reclaiming their Native identity. For generations, many individuals hid or were disconnected from their ancestry due to stigma, discrimination, or forced assimilation. This recent rise reflects healing and cultural pride. People are now choosing to reconnect with a heritage that had been suppressed or erased. And as you can see on the slide, we have some stats, and you'll also find in your textbooks that point out the numbers. Tribal and geographic diversity. The phrase nations of nations captures this idea of diversity beautifully. Each tribe is a sovereign entity with its own government, culture, and traditions. Geographically, most Native Americans live in the western and southern regions of the United States, but every state has Native residents. In Alaska, nearly 1 in 5 people identify as Native. This diversity means that human service work must be locally informed. What's true for a Navajo community in Arizona might be entirely different for a different Native American community in Michigan. So again, we can't think of Native Americans as a monolith. They're not just one group. There's several hundreds of groups. Now we will begin looking at some of the cultural values that are commonly associated with Native Americans, the first being sharing and cooperation. Many Native traditions place a high value on generosity. Success and honor are earned through sharing, giving away possessions, food, or time. In contrast to our Western value of accumulation, Native values emphasize community well-being over individual gain. This may sometimes lead to misunderstandings in workplaces or financial context where Western systems reward saving and competition. As helpers, we must be aware that a client's approach to work or money might reflect these cultural values rather than irresponsibility. Cultural value we're going to look at is non-interference. And non-interference reflects deep respect for autonomy and personal space. In practice, this means that Native clients may be likely to interrupt, argue, or express strong emotions during sessions. What's important to note is this doesn't mean that they are disengaged. Rather, they are honoring your space and allowing events to unfold naturally. As a practitioner, we can mirror this respect by avoiding overdirection, allowing silence, and focusing on collaborative rather than authoritative approaches. So as we know in human services, we always want to have a spirit of collaboration. We never want to try to be the boss, but this is especially important when working with Native American clients. Cultural value 3, a cyclical sense of time. Time in many Native worldviews flows in cycles rather than in straight lines. This means practically that emphasis is placed on the process, not at a particular deadline. Being late is not a moral failure in this culture. It is simply that events occur when conditions are right. As service providers, we need to take note of this because we're used to time flowing in a straight line and we're used to time being clock-based and we're used to deadlines. In fact, as practitioners, we love deadlines. So as service providers, when working with Native clients, we should approach scheduling and goal setting with flexibility and patience, focusing on the relationships we have with our clients and respecting their view of time instead of focusing on rigid timelines. Number 4, family and kinship. Family is central to Native identity. And this doesn't just mean biological family, but instead a vast kinship network. In some tribes, lineage and property follow the mother's line, and parenting is communal. Children may move between households or be cared for by extended relatives. This collective family system often contrasts with the Western idea of individualism. When working with Native clients, it's essential to involve extended family and respect the interconnectedness that defines decision-making and caregiving. So what that means is we'll sometimes have to take our view of the individual family, just being a mom and dad, or a mom and a mom, or a dad and a dad, and we'll have to change that view to instead see the family as being this vast network of kinship, some not even blood related, but family and friends. Cultural value 5, harmony with nature. The natural world is sacred. Native spirituality often views humans as one part of a huge interconnected ecosystem. Chief Seattle famously said, "Every part of this earth is sacred to our people." Illness, whether physical or emotional, is seen as disharmony within this balance. Healing, then, is not just medical or psychological, it's spiritual, relational, and environmental. This holistic view of everything being connected and everything being part of one large interconnected system aligns well with the strength-based and ecological models that we study in human services. That we've looked at some of the cultural values, let's look at some of the challenges Native cultures have with assimilation. Native Americans occupy a very unique position among communities of color. They were the first people of this land, yet they have also been systematically displaced and silenced. Stereotypes like the noble savage, sports mascots, or characters of Native identity trivialize a history of genocide. Generations of Native children were sent to boarding schools where they were forbidden to speak their own language or practice their own traditions. These traumas echo across generation, shaping identity, trust, and well-being. With that in mind, modern day struggles in Native communities can't be separated from their history. The same systems that cause the harm now often serve as gatekeepers for healthcare, education, and welfare, creating a justified mistrust of working with these systems. Think about it like this. If you had family members who were taken away and your traditions were taken away, and then you have this history of this happening, and then, years down the road, you need to get help. But the people you need to get help from look exactly like those who had originally taken those things away from you. How likely would you be to trust them? When working with Native clients, trust must be earned slowly. It's crucial to listen first, respect tribal sovereignty, and empower clients to reconnect with their community and their culture. Effectively with Native clients. Here's some key tips to remember. Respect. Respect tribal identity and sovereignty. Build rapport before deep disclosure. Involve family and elders when possible. Honor holistic and spiritual healing, and practice patience and humility.